Welcome. Hey guys, Schmitty here. So, I want to take a second and talk about Yae Miko. Without further ado, let's just get into this, okay?
You all right, little one? You look a little nervous. The moon is simply magnificent tonight. We mustn't squander it. Come, join me for a moonlight stroll. I won't take no for an answer.
Yae Miko wields a catalyst and manipulates the electro element. She provides a mix of constant damage when off the field, as well as high burst damage when on the field. Miko's elemental skill,
Her auto attacks, I believe they look like a 3 auto attack chain with a charge attack.
on evocation, Seishio Sakura causes Miko to move swiftly and leave behind something called a Seishio Sakura. These box-shaped branches can periodically cause lightning to strike nearby.
She is highly mobile, and that is a great thing.
Ouch! When Miko unleashes her elemental burst, Great Secret Art Tenko Kenshin, she will unseal nearby Seishio Sakura, destroying their outer forms and transforming them into Tenko thunderbolts that descend from the skies. With her passive talent, the
Okay, before we get into passive talent. All right, her burst. So it seems like her burst is going to scale off of her elemental skill, right? Whereas it'll add multiple ticks per skill out, up to 3, because it says you have 3 dashes in there, right? So what I think that means is you're going to have the initial impact of the burst, and then you're going to have an additional impacts based on every E that is out at the time, every elemental skill.
Shrine's Sacred Shade. When Yae Miko uses her elemental burst, each Seishio Sakura destroyed resets the cooldown for 1 charge of her elemental skill.
Okay. Thing to note there, each time one of these is exploded, her elemental skill, it reduces the cooldown of 1 elemental skill. If you're able to quick accession 3 burst, you'll have 3 more skills left. I don't know what the scaling on her skill is going to be, but if it's a decent scaling, that is 6 procs in the matter of 5 seconds, you know, counting the maybe 1 to 2 second animation of her elemental burst. Doesn't seem like it's a super long animation, but that's pretty good. Now, I don't know how it's going to work, whereas if you time it right, if you can get more to proc, more of your elemental skills to proc on her ult, right? I don't think so. I think it's a limit of 3. But we'll probably know more information as we get along, and the more of the kit gets revealed and she's released.
After unlocking the talent Enlightened Blessing, Yae Miko's elemental mastery will increase the damage dealt by the Seishio Sakura. And last but not least, with Miko's talent Meditations of Ayako, when she crafts character talent...
Oh, I want to get into that after a second. Elemental mastery. At the very minimum, it means you have 1 less dead stat on your artifacts. At the highest, that means she's going to be a completely separate scaling character on Elemental Mastery, which will be kind of cool to have a non-animo character scale off Elemental Mastery. I don't know which level it is, but the first is passive talent. The second one is the one that I'm going to explain just now.
Talent materials, she has a set chance to create an extra talent material from the same region of a random type. The rarity of this material will be the same as the materials consumed during crafting. That crafty lady.
Seriously?
Totally. Oh
Wait. Does she make extra?
Okay. There is a very good chance. In fact, it's almost like confirmed kind of chance, like very high chance that is going to be a higher percentage than, say, Eula's passive talent, where she gives you 10% to reproduce the book, to give you an extra book from crafting. Because she's adding the extra book of the same region, right? So that means Inazuma, Liyue books, and Mondstadt books. They're all combined together. So if you're crafting Mondstadt books, you have a % chance of getting the same book of a random type with the Mondstadt. Purely just looking at it from a mathematical standpoint, that is the most cost-effective passive talent for books in the game. Because you're getting the same material, you have a higher %. I cannot believe it's going to be 10%. If it's 10%, kind of useless unless you're like maxed out on books and you don't need any for any other character. That's hardly the case, but if it's higher than 10%, it's the most cost-effective book in the game. It's not going to be beneficial for everybody, right? It will for myself, because I'm trying to build a bunch of characters, and so I need the extra books of other places. I'm probably going to utilize her a lot. But a good portion of the player base is just focusing on certain characters, so they're going to want a lower chance to get the same book replicated, so that means less farming for that person, you know, or the people that want immediate effects, you know, don't really care about, okay, this is cost effective in the future or whatever. But I personally love that, and that's going to be a huge perk for me while I'm rolling that, while I'm making books. So I'm definitely going to utilize her for that.
Books?
I believe that's the end of the showcase. Okay, so she looks, her skills and her burst look great, and they sound great, you know. The kit sounds interesting. I like the mobility of her. You know, the Kitsune Fox. That's kind of, you know, lore friendly there. All right. So this is her 5-star weapon. The amount of emphasis of her kit that is placed on elemental skill, I would be absolutely dumbfounded if there wasn't some elemental skill scaling on this weapon. And since she can use 3 and then reset them and then use 3 more, I would be absolutely shocked if there wasn't something like using a certain amount of elemental skills or hitting a certain amount of elemental skills will bump your damage up. I don't know what the passive ability, the attribute, is going to be. I want to believe that it's going to be a crit, because Claymore users desperately needed a crit damage weapon. They got the crit damage weapon with Ito. These 5-star weapons are focusing more on crit damage and everything. Catalyst users, I think the thing that brings them down the most is the fact that they just don't have good weapons. That's one of the things that brings Catalyst users down. The weapon choice for Catalyst is abysmal. Catalysts are some of the worst weapons in the game. In fact, you have the Widsith, a 4-star weapon, is better than some or most of the 5-star weapons at Refinement 1. Which, unless you're a whale, you're not going to worry about any 5-star past Refinement 1. You know what I mean? So, I think that this weapon's going to be good. I think it's going to scale off of elemental skills, and I think it's going to have some sort of crit on it. Just based on me simply looking at the information in here. I would not mind getting more leaks on what materials I need to pre-farm. I wish they would do more info early about what to farm. So that way the people that don't have unlimited resin a day, not unlimited, but that don't do resin refreshes, have a chance to actually farm for this character and have, because it takes a lot of time to farm for a character. You know what I mean? Take an example right here. This is a Ganyu planner. Okay, for what materials you would need, right? This isn't going to be Yae Miko's materials, this is Ganyu's, but I will go into what I believe Yae Miko is going to need to build. So, for myself, this is my goal for my characters when I get them. I want to send them 80 max ascension, so 80 out of 90, because the last 10 levels on that are a huge amount of Mora and level books, character books. It's a huge investment for such a minor gain that it just, until I have more characters leveled up and I've built a bunch and I've leveled talents, there's really no point to me in leveling it up. You know, I don't see the benefit. It is about 2320 resin. Okay? That is probably 2 weeks or more. That is about 2 weeks of farming that you need to do. Oh yeah, 12.9 days. It says it right there. Ah, I'm blind. 12.9 days of resin farming to be able to get the materials, right? Plus or minus some, because you might have some already of these or something like that. And you might get lucky and get a bunch of these, you know. Just saying. It's about 12.9 days. To get a character up to 999 talents, which we won't be able to do for Yae Miko's case, and I'll explain it later. You're going to need minimum to get to level 6, which is what we'll be able to get to for the benchmark. You need 9 of these books and 63 of these books. That will get you to talent level 6 on all 3. Right? These are the first world drop that you get. Not boss drop, but just world drop. And then you have the regional flowers. You have the boss drop, the fragments, or the gemstones, and then you have the weekly boss drop. Okay. So now that we know generally how much it costs to get a character up to that point, I want to show you guys what I've been pre-farming for Yae Miko, okay? And I'll tell you what, if I'm wrong, that sucks. I wasted a good amount of time, but I don't think I'm wrong because I thought about it very carefully before I started farming for it. Okay, so first we'll look at what we need to farm. So obviously, books and Mora. You're going to need to get books and Mora. I got about 2 million, That might be enough to get her up there. I'm still going to keep farming for that. Okay. The next part would be the world drops. Okay. Based solely on usage, when it was last used, and who used it, I believe that these. I've been farming these, and I'm already there for these. So I think that this is going to be what she's going to need to ascend. This is going to be her ascension, and her talent is going to be the handguards. Now again, things could change, but right now I'm fairly confident that that's going to be it. As far as boss drop, not weekly boss, but normal boss drop, there is a new domain that just so happens to drop electro gemstones, or the lower versions of those. I'm just saying it's probably going to be this, you know? So I pre-farmed for this. They're not going to send us back to the electro cube. Okay, they're not going to do that. I can guarantee you that. It's most likely going to be this. I can't see any other reason why. They already dropped the gemstones for it. It's the new boss, new area. It only makes sense, right? It makes so much sense. I went ahead and just invested the resin in it. And if I'm wrong, well, another character's going to use that, thankfully. But you're going to need the gemstones. So you're going to need 1 of the sliver. You're going to need 9 fragments, 9 chunks, and 6 gemstones in order to ascend her up. Talent books. I believe it's going to be the light series. I see no reason why not. It fits in the lore because of the Torii Gate. Torii Gates are associated with shrines in you know, Japanese culture. So I see no reason why it's not going to be a Torii Gate. The light series. It just fits, you know. It hasn't been used since Raiden. We've used the other 2 since Raiden. We haven't used this one. I don't see any reason why this won't be it. Weekly bosses. Let's talk about weekly boss. So, with the reveal of the Raiden Shogun boss, which it is safe to assume that that is going to be a weekly boss. There's so much design and effort put into that character. I would be amazed. I would actually be happy, personally, if it was a world boss, because that means that they're putting a lot of attention to detail into the smaller things. Now, but with the amount of attention to detail and the fact that it's story-based, I believe that's going to be the new weekly boss, and I believe that's going to be what Yae Miko is going to have to farm. It makes sense with her lore, you know, to me, anyways. You know, you're quelling Raiden's puppet, you know, she's directly involved in that story, and she's involved in this storyline. I would be surprised if that's not the weekly boss. We have had Signora for so long for tons of different characters. I believe they're going to add a new weekly boss into it. Okay. That's just my prediction. Okay. And then now for regional flowers. So there's 2 here that I've been farming. And there's 2 reasons why. I've been farming Sakura blooms because they match her lore very, very closely. And this is initially the one that I thought it was going to be, right? I thought it was going to be Sakura blooms, so I've been farming these for a while. We haven't had it. I don't believe we've had it since Ayaka. But then taking a look at the other regional flowers that I don't think there's any that haven't been used that I've found so far. And the one that was last used that most kind of fits that's in the regular Inazuma is going to be these, right? These were last used for Kazuha, which was, I believe, the first banner in Inazuma. So it's going to be between these. Honestly, based on the timeline, I'm going to lean more towards these. But the great thing about both of these is that they are plentiful in Inazuma. If you have Goro, slap him on your team and just run around. You'll find like tons of these, and you'll find tons of these. If you don't have Goro, that's fine. Just run by the shorelines for these. Around the Sakura tree, there's going to be a lot of these. And then just exploring Inazuma, you're going to find these a lot. Now I want to talk about weapons. We've got the 5-star. Obviously, that's going to be the best weapon for Yae Miko. But I want to take a look at 4-star weapon. Okay. And the Widstith, especially if you have R5, right? It is a gacha weapon, so it's not purely free to play, right? But if you've rolled on some banners, there's a good chance you've picked up at least a couple copies of the Widstith, right? It's been on quite a few banners. If you're new, you might not have it. If you see this weapon come across and you pick this weapon up from the banner, it's a great weapon. It's probably the best 4-star, or not probably, it is the best 4-star weapon, I would say. And it's 100% the best 4-star catalyst. Other weapons besides the Widstith, okay? Evonius Codex, purely for a supporty Yae Miko. Definitely, you know, I wouldn't say this isn't a bad weapon on her at all. Wine and Song. I don't know who this is meant for, but it's not Yae Miko. You're not going to be sprinting, or alternate sprint. You're not going to be sprinting as much with her, because you have repositioning or elemental skill. You're going to be worried more about rotation than sprinting out of stuff. I have Perception. I don't think it'll be bad. It's a 4-star catalyst with attack percent. Obviously, the Widsith more than outshines this one, but it's an option. I don't think that you're going to need this on Yae Miko. You're not going to need the healing. She's not going to be built for that. This weapon is good. This weapon is very good. For a 4-star weapon, this is very good. The whole entire line of Battle Pass weapons are all crit-based weapons. They're all fairly decent in their own right. As long as you weave auto attacks in, elemental skill and burst are going to be increased damage. Now, most likely, you're going to miss out on the damage from the bat portion of it, where after your skill or burst, your normal attacks increase by 20%. But if you're weaving in autos in between your E skills and then bursting, you'll get a damage bonus from that. That would be the most optimal if you're going to be doing this. Now, as far as rotation-wise with timing, I'm not sure if that'll be the most optimal, but if you're looking purely on damage base, auto-attacking in between elemental skills is going to increase your damage. Sacrificial Fragment. I don't think it's going to work with the burst. Now, taking a step back from that, if it does work with her burst, and you get a 4th charge with that, this might honestly be one of the best weapons for her. Because you're getting an additional elemental skill, which is additional damage from the elemental skill, and you're getting an additional proc on your burst. So I don't think it's going to work like that, but if it does, this weapon's not going to be bad at all. Most of the cases, the 5-star option is going to be your best choice based on stats alone. With exception if you have an R5 Widsith. I believe R5 Widsith outperforms the other 5 stars even at like close refinements. Like refinement 3, I believe it outperforms that because this weapon's just really good. Okay. Artifacts. So let's talk about artifacts. I heard a couple rumors that she might use Shimenawa. She's absolutely, I will bet money on this. She's absolutely not going to be using the Shimenawa set. When casting an elemental skill, if you have 15 or more energy, you lose 15 energy. Her burst scales off her skill. You use her skill before your burst. You're not going to gain particles fast enough unless you're gaining 6 particles in elemental skill, which if you are, she is literally broken. I don't think that they're going to do that, but you're using your skill and then your burst. You want to use your burst after using your skills. This lowers your energy if you use your skills. It doesn't make sense. The kit just does not work with this one. So this is definitely not going to be a set that is going to be utilized on her. As a 4-piece. As a 2-piece, an attack percent bonus is not bad. If you have a 2-piece set of this and you've been farming this, because this is probably the most cost-effective domain, the Emblem Shimenawa, by all means, throw a 2-piece on her. But I wouldn't throw a 4-piece set. Emblem is good on every character that you need a energy recharge on. So, which is basically every character. You need some form of energy recharge. If they are using their elemental burst, low CD, or their kit is focused on the elemental burst, this is going to be good. So if you have a spare set of this, you could throw it on her, and I think it'll perform just fine. What I've been farming, go to my other Electro Catalyst user. This is what I've been farming. So I think 2 Thundering Fury, 2 Noblesse. I already had the Noblesse, and I've been farming the Thundering Fury for multiple characters with very low success, but these are the best artifacts I've gotten after a couple weeks. So this one's okay. You know, 14% energy recharge, got attack percent on it. And then we got this one, 13.6 crit rate. That's plenty good for me. You know, that's a pretty decent crit rate marker. And thankfully, Elemental Mastery is not a dead stat on Yae Miko. So these are the 2 I got for that. I'm going to use those for Yae Miko while I play test her and figure out which artifact set's going to be good. But I think this is going to be a very safe artifact set for her. I went with more the safest route of farming, right? Because she's going to use elemental damage. The electro damage bonus is going to work on her 100%. She's electro damage catalyst user. And then elemental burst by 20% is going to work on her because her kit seems to be a lot more burst focused than elemental skill focused, right? A couple honorable mentions on the artifact set that I think you should consider and not look over. Okay, the first one being Tenacity of the Millilith. So her elemental skill does passive damage. You're going to have a decent uptime on that 4-piece. Not to mention that she has 3 charges. If you're using her as a burst support, I think Tenacity is going to be not bad on her. I think it's going to be a good set. Now, Now, of course, the HP is kind of dead on her, but the passive is pretty good on this. If you're going for Yae Miko and you're gonna want to do a team based, I mean, Fischl runs this. I've seen, there's Fischl builds that run tenacity, right, for the 20% attack increase. Now, the shield strength is only going to be active when Yae Miko has a shield, not for other shield characters. So this is another dead stat, because with this kind of style build, you're going to be fast swap with Yae Miko. You're not going to have her on the field too much because you want her off the field to buff your other characters. I would say don't underestimate this kit. I think this kit's going to be good. Noblesse. Obviously, Noblesse is a safe choice, right? Noblesse works on a lot of different a lot of different support characters. So you can't go wrong with Noblesse. You have a Noblesse set and you throw it on her, I think it will perform fine. And then honestly, another one, you have the 4-piece. I don't think you're going to be charge attacking with Yae Miko too much, but if her scaling's pretty decent with her charge attack, this could be something that you look at, because Elemental Mastery by 80. Okay. That already scales into her burst as well. And then you have charge attack damage increase. That's not terrible. And this is a very widely used set. I mean, you get it from every world boss. Potentially, you get that or gladiators. You can get one of these two from world bosses, and from weekly bosses. So I don't think that this is going to be bad on her, since she does have some scaling once you ascend her up with Elemental Mastery. But again, everything's kind of iffy right now, so we're not 100% on stuff. But like I said, to be safe, I'm running 2-piece Thundering Fury, 2-piece Noblesse, just to increase numbers a little bit on that. And I already have those sets farmed, decent enough sets, And there's also the potential that she'll get the Kokomi treatment, where she's going to get a new artifact set coming out shortly after her banner ends. The jury's still out on artifact set. Those are my little thoughts. This is I kind of did a little bit of looking at the different artifacts, see what might work on her, and I honestly think that some of those are going to be fine. Yae Miko. So I have pretty high hopes for her. I think she's going to be a good character. We just have to wait and see how her kit works and how the scaling goes with her. Now, nonetheless, I would probably roll on Yae Miko regardless if I knew she was bad or not, just because the character, the character in-game, character design, all that, A+ for me. I love witty characters, so the fact that, Yae Miko has a little bit attitude to her, that appeals to me. I like that. And at the end of the day, I play this game for fun. I roll characters because I want them, not because they're OP or meta, So that's just me. But anyways, if you guys enjoyed the content, thanks for watching. I appreciate it. Leave a like and leave a comment. Let me know, hey, are you pulling for Yae Miko, or who you're pulling for on that banner, if you're going to save through all the banners. Anyways, thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you guys next time.